Daniel, I'm live on camera, just so you know. And good morning, everybody. I am working on today of doing a crochet diagram, and I am designing something called the study of wonder. And I already have rounds number 1 through 15 already done because I designed partial of the beginning of the study are inspired by Joy for Jeannie, and I had forgot that I did this. So yesterday I asked her if I could borrow some of the designs so I could do something with myself. So today I always diagram my work before I start really designing. Go. And I diagram so that I can so that the mathematics will work. So I want to work on this during the holiday season. Just hang on a second, these dogs need out. Go. And so what I'm doing is I'll show you how it's kind of done behind the scenes if you're interested. And so that's kind of what I'm working on today. So you're going to see some screenshots or screens of Adobe Illustrator. It's what we use behind the scenes in order to make these diagrams. So what I have is a master diagram of all the different kind of things that I play with. And I do this so that when I can just kind of copy paste and they're all kind of matching the size. So I spent a week a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago, of like literally measuring stuff and to get the right sizes. And then every time I do something new, I add it to my sheet. So that's kind of what I'm working on today. So for those that are observing Christmas, happy holidays to you and Merry Festivus and all the whole 9 yards. So I kind of want to work on this during the break. So I want to do that. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to do a screen share with you, and you can talk to me behind the scenes as well. So I'm just going to jump screens, and we are going to do a screen share with you. So a portion of the screen, and I will move you over to what I'm working on here behind the scenes. Okay. So here is the program that we use. So this program is Adobe Illustrator, and I learned how to use this very slowly over the years, and that's something that I'm kind of working my way through. So what I have behind the scenes is that I have a new sheet going in, so the study of wonder. So I'm starting off at the very center point here. And this will be and what this is it's going to be a circle transitioning to a square. And in order to do this, I don't focus on the starting or stopping of rows, but I focus on just getting the shaping down and to do all that. So I'm going to be jumping between screens to pull things that I have already designed in the past. So for example, I like this, we're going to go for the circle. So we're going to take the circle over. And in crochet diagrams, there's always a method to the madness. So we're just going to paste it, and row number 1 or round number 1 always is in black. And then the next row is in blue and black and blue and black. And so what I need to do is that I need to create layers behind the scenes here. So let me just do my layers. And if I'm ever confused on something, there's always the help to be able to help me along. So just end up layers, and it will just give me what those are. And I'm just going to make the screen a little bit different here. So help, layers, and we're going to take a look at the layers that we have. So I'm going to eliminate some layers out and to be able to try again. So I'm going to just delete those out. We're going to make those gone. And so we're going to say layer 1, we're going to say is the center point here. And so we're going to put this onto the center point. So I'm going to just talk my way through it, and we're going to move this object to the layer. I'm just gonna just adjust my screens here a little bit so I can actually see my work. I need to be able to see the help menu because when you're confused on stuff, we're going to do that. And we're going to move this to transform to the layer. Okay, center point. And transfer. Send to the current layer. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be that. So now we're going to do another layer. So I'll change this one here to row number 2 and say this is row 1 or round 1. So the goal for the layering is to be able to segregate out the sections in order to do that. So what I need to do is that I need to align the center point exactly where it needs to be. So I'm going to snap this to the layers. So we're going to snap to the grid. So this will snap it to, did not work. Let's change that out. Snap to the pixel. I know, I haven't actually done this in a while. Snap to the grid. Snap to the pixel. So I'm just going to roughly get it to where it's hitting the line. So it's always the hard part is just to get yourself started. Okay, so I got it there. So now we're going to do round number 1. So what I want to do for myself is that I want to create a center point so I can do this. So I'm going to just do this in a different color in order to make this make sense. I'm just going to get rid of this. And I'm going to change the color so it's green so I can see it. And so in my case, we need single crochets to go around. So I'm going to go back to my other sheet and grab a single crochet from my sheet here. And we're going to go back to the other layer. And I'm going to put it right there. And I'm just going to make this as a line. And I'm going to transform this into a guide. So it's just showing me where that line is. So now I want to rotate this around the center point in order to make it into a circle. So we're going to rotate this thing around. Rotate, and then we're going to move the center point of that to here. And I need 8 points, so I'm going to do 360 degrees divided by 8 and a copy. And Command D, 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 D. And this is round number 1. So what did I do wrong? So I'm going to back that out. What I did wrong is that I never assigned the layer. So I'm going to assign the layer first so that all the copies end up on the right layer. So we're going to go back to round number 1 and send this to the current layer. So now that is in there, and now we're going to rotate it again. So we want to keep the layers all together. So we need to change the center point of this down into the center point of the whole thing. And then we want it 8 times. So 360 divided by 8, and then copy it and Command D. We'll get this to go all the way around. Okay, so now this was round number 1. in actual fact, I'm going to change something else right here. And I'm going to take doom and doom. And I'm going to move him to the center. And I'm going to change this out. And what this is that I should be putting those 8 single crochets into the center point here. And the slip stitches, I'm not going to worry about right now. It's too early in the game to be worrying about stuff like that. Okay, so I'm just going to move him up and rotate. Okay, so now we're going to move to round number 2. So let's create round number 2. Let's make that visible, move it here. And round number 2, it states in the pattern that we're putting in 2 double crochet into each. So what I want to do is that I want to draw a circle first. And put it into the center point here. And I want to make the circle bigger. This is just helping me to understand how it's going to work around. And it states that I'm putting 2 double crochets into the same stitch. So I'm going to grab this 2 over here and bring it back over. And I'm going to place it in. So everything has already been calculated for heights. Okay, so I just guessed the space in between. So let's make him a bit bigger. To there. So what I don't like about this is that the tops don't match the circular circle. So what I want to do is fix that before I go any further. And so what I'm going to do is just change him to being up. And also change this guy up. Got it. The other thing I want to be able to do is that there's going to be a total of 16 stitches all the way around. So before I go any further, is that I want to go up like this and see where the 16 points are going to land. So we're going to do a rotate of this guy. So let's do a rotate and figure out where that's going to be. We're going to move the center point to the center. And so if we know that there's 16 points, we're 360 degrees divided by 16 and copy. And so this is going to show me where they should be. And the thing that I can see already that is a problem, Command D, is that I don't like how they're not centered with the, so this is offset from the center point. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take these 2 and I'm going to rotate them to match. Okay, so we're going to rotate. And we're going to, there is the center point right here. So we're going to move the center point back to the center. And we're going to free rotate this thing. So we're just rotating it to make it look like it's even. And I'm using the grid lines that you see in gray as my marker points. So now what I want to do is that I want to come in and I want to move the center points of these to there. And we're going to do the same with here. center point. Okay, so that's, I'm looking at kind of, you want to be a little bit specific, like you just don't want to settle for second best. The public ultimately judges you in the end. So we want to come on out now and just kind of see what it's going to look like. And I'm going to keep this circle for another time. So I'm going to make it bigger for my next layer. And see where that goes. And so now I'm going to take out these guys and I'm going to make sure that these two are on round number 2, and it is. And I'm going to take out these other guys here. So now we're going to rotate these. So in order to rotate those, you have to group them together so that they're one piece unit. And then we're going to rotate around the axis point. Do you see that the center point between these guys, the center point is directly not on this line? So what I'm thinking about doing before I do anything is just to kind of shift them a little bit, but not too much. And we're going to try and rotate around now. Okay, and we'll rotate to the center point. What I want to do is that there's going to be 8 points, so 360 divided by 8. And the center point is still there, so I'm going to have to remove that first. So we're going to retry. So let's rotate again, move the center point here. And 360 divided by 8. Copy. And Command D. Okay, so the mistake I just made, I'm going to reverse this back out. What is the problem? The color should be blue. So the first round is always black. Second round is always blue. So we're going to try that again. Center point down. Yeah, so we're going to try again. There should be a box that appears when I release off the shift key. And now this should be 360 divided by 8 points, and copy, Command D. Okay, and so now they're equally spaced all the way around. Okay, so now the next round, and thank you, Charlotte, for joining us this morning. Let's go into the next round. Number 3 is join with the standing single crochet to any stitch, 1 single crochet in each stitch followed by a chain 1. So now we have to do that. So let's get ourselves a single crochet, which we already have here. So I'm going to make a copy of it. Actually, I'm going to just copy that over. Okay, and I'm going to make this to be round 3. And unhide it. And this should be black, so it should be good. And I'm also missing a chain, so I want to grab a chain from the master. So we'll grab a chain, copy it, and bring it over. And okay, so we know that there's going to be a chain in between all of this stuff. So I'm looking at the height of the single crochet. So what I want to do is kind of match it to there. And I want to change this size back down to hit that. Okay. And what I want to do is that I want to rotate this guy to be over here. So we're going to try and rotate him over. So we're going to command move the center point down. And I'm going to see if I can move him. I don't know how to move him. Okay, I'm going to cancel that idea. So what I need to do is that I'm going to have to rotate him manually. And before I get carried away with that, what I want to do is that I want to take a look at the lines. So I'm going to draw a line up from him. And there should be a total of 32 spots. So we're going to do a rotation of him. So 360 degrees divided by 32 spots. Copy. Okay, so there would be the center points of those there. And then the chain one. Chain ones are usually at the top of a stitch. And I'm going to make him a little bit bigger. And the center point is right there. I'm going to, before I go any further, I'm going to draw a line from the center point here up. And rotate. I just want to check out the rotation on this. So there's 32 spots divided by 32. So I can tell immediately that this is not in the center point. Okay, we're going to try now. So now we're going to group these and test it. Group, and we're going to move this to round 3, which it is on round 3. And now we're going to test going around. Option down. And 360 divided by 16 points. Copy. And that was round 3. We're going to make him bigger now. Okay, we're going to continue to go. And round number 4 says 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 chain 1 spaces, and then chain 6. Chain 6. There's a chain 6 there. I'm going to grab that. I'm going to also make it blue while we're here. And also single crochets here. Also make that blue. Okay, so I'm going to now ungroup these guys. And move him back. Okay, we're going to take this guy and we're going to change him over. We're going to ungroup him. Take him out. And now we have to straighten up these guys. Let's rotate the whole thing. Okay, I don't like the direction this is going in, so I'm going to change him. I'm just going to manually do it. He has to come back down into there, so he has to rotate. We have to rotate that out. I'm going to change him over. Okay, before I get too carried away, I want to rotate this guy. So he's going to be in 16 spots. So we're going to try and rotate and see what happens there so I can get a better idea where I'm going. Divided by 16. Okay. So this has to be Okay, so now we're going to take out this guy. Oh. Okay, we're going to leave him in. Okay, so we're going to group these guys together. Group, and I also, this is round 4. Put him on round number 4. Okay, and now let's rotate him around. And there's going to be 8 spots, so 360 divided by 8 points. Copy. Okay. Thank you for all the members that are joining this morning. Just kind of, I'm working on something so that I can, and thank you to everybody else for joining as well. You don't have to be a member in order to be part of the crochet crowd, but you get extra things for that. Okay, so we're here at this point. Okay, so round number 5 is going to be tricky. So what I'm going to do to make it easier for myself is that I'm going to rotate the whole thing. And I'm rotating so that I'm at the center point here. One thing I did notice, see this right here. See how that's not actually straight up. That should be straight up. So I'm going to eliminate out. This is round number 3. So I'm going to eliminate this and try again. So how many points was there? There was 16 points. So mirror works really good. One of you, Perry's talking about the rotation. You can mirror as well if you want to. And then I'm going to put my layers back. So that's better for me. Okay, so let's make another layer. It's motifs. I'm going to say this is round 5. And that's good. We don't want to get too much bigger. Okay, so round 5 has double crochets. So we're going to grab some double crochets here. And I'm also going to grab a single crochet while I'm here. Take it back with me. Okay, so this is going to go to round number 5. Okay, and then what is it? Round number 5, chain 2. So I need a couple chains while I'm here. And somebody was just talking about the rotation and mirroring. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to rotate it and mirror it down so it's even. Copy it and move it over. So now they're both at the same angle. Now this one guy goes down this chain, and there's a total of 5 of them that go down. So I'm gonna just. So I don't want to guess. So we're gonna do an arc tool, and I'm gonna say that I want the arc to here to here. Oops. Try arc again. So I'm gonna just say I want it from here. I think that's the dog needs one. So Renee is asking if this is the best program. No, nothing. So Renee is asking if this is the best program. This is what the professionals use behind the scenes. So I'm going to use that as an arc. Just going to match it. So there's other crochet diagrams that are programs that are available. This is definitely the best one to use in my opinion. It's not the cheapest one for sure, but you can't do what I'm showing you on most of those other stuff. So I'm just trying to make it look even. And then what I'm going to do, because I'm a little bit anal retentive, is that I'm going to take the arc that I created and I'm going to just draw it over, make it bigger, and just match the center points of those. So people message me a lot saying, do a diagram for this and that. And I really honestly don't think people have a clue that how much work it takes. Okay. So welcome to everybody that's joining us today. I'm just doing a crochet diagram so I can work upstairs on my own. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take this arc and I'm going to reflect the arc so I have it to the other side as well. And what I want to do is I want to reflect it to the center point of this. So we're going to try and reflect again. which I clearly don't know how to do. Oh. This. And I'm just going to eye it up. And now this side is going to have the double crochets, and there will be a total of 5 of those. And there's no rule stating that the heights have to always be the same. So I'm matching the arc to match the other side. And I'm kind of matching the distance a bit, just all eyeing up. So what I want to do is I want to reduce this guy down. And then I'm going to reduce him a little bit further. A little bit further. And then I'm going to take him and I'm going to make him out. And I want to change his angle a bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to match it to that. Anybody surprised on how much work this is? So just because it's Christmas doesn't mean I'm not working. So I had a break a few weeks ago. So Christmas is the busiest season for us. So it's dumb for me to take time off. So I work during Christmas. Okay, I'm going to match him. So I really can't tell at this perspective whether the blacks are lined up properly. So I'm going to send this one to the back so I can see. So I'm going to make him a bit bigger, out, and rotate him. Okay, so we have our 5 going up. Okay, I don't want to do anything stupid, so I'm going to just eliminate the markers out, just out of the way so that I have them, just in case I have to do something else. And so I will move those up. Again. Move these up out of the way. So what I've not tested here, so I'm going to group these, I'm going to just align these differently. And what I've not tested here is between here and here. So let me just. Okay, so we're going to group these guys together and see how they work out. And then we'll do any fine tuning. Group. And these guys should be on layer 5. Okay, so we're going to try this and we're going to rotate. And see what it looks like. And thank you so much, our King. Actually, I see your comments a lot, so they don't go unnoticed. Okay, so there's 8 points, so 360 divided by 8, copy. I'm okay for now. Okay, so this is not going to work. So what I'm going to do, Command D. Nope. These back as a group. Okay, so I'm gonna, I have to realign this. So our King, I think you're now a member, so you should know that every month you'll have a free super chat without having to pay for it, because it's already worked into your membership. So after a month of being with us, you'll have one super chat that's available to you without having to pay extra. I don't know if you saw that in the membership, but that's something that you might want to know. So that itself almost pays for its membership. Okay, so my issue that I'm having is right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try taking, so we're going to ungroup these guys. And I'm going to take this whole lot right here. And I'm going to try to shrink it a bit. And I'm going to take this whole lot, ungroup. We're going to shrink him down. We're going to take this guy and this guy, I'm going to shrink to there. Okay, so let's get rid of the rest of the groups. Delete. delete. Okay, so you got that. So what I can do now is that I know that this sucks. And so does this, and so does this. And these suck too. So now I'm going to group these guys together. Group, it's on round number 5 and it's black. So now that is my new group. And we're going to rotate. By 8. There you go. Okay, so I'm gonna undo these, Command D, Command Z, and I am going up. Oh shit. I'm going to just, I'm being a little fussy now at this point, but I want to make sure that I want these to be the equal size. (360) divided by 8 points, copy. So I want these guys to look the same. Okay, so I think that layer is done, and so we'll just do our final, grab it and go. And 360 divided by 8, copy it, and D. Okay, done. Okay. Okay, so that was number okay, number 6. Number 6 is a pain in the ass. Okay, so number 6. We need some trebles. I better save my work. So my computer's saving every minute, but I will save it anyway. Okay, so just bear with me for a second and I'll be right back. So I'm going to take a quick, I'll be here with you on camera, but I'm just going to take a quick lunch break if you want to chat with me here on camera while I'm holding. And I'm having leftover pizza and pop. It's a lunch of champions today. So anything on people's minds? I don't even know how many people are joining us today. So my kind of goal is to get this done and then print out some sheets of it and then figure out how to do a blanket that I'm working on. Because if it doesn't work in crochet diagram format, it will not work in person. Yeah. So thank you to all the members that have joined us over the last week or so. And you can tell the members they have a yarn seed, a heart yarn seed. And so after the first month, their seed will then be planted into the ground. And then after a certain time frame, it will change and it'll get watered and turn into a whole rose plant as their membership gets older. So for the members, what they're getting from me is more personal. So they get updates like the dog, and Daniel made a beautiful turkey dinner the other night. So they get more of a glimpse of behind the scenes instead of being so formal. They also get advanced access to tutorials. So I tend to work up to 6 months in advance. So if I work on a fall design right now and I film it, I will not release it until August. So if I'm working on it now, I will film it and the members will have access to that without having to wait to the fall. So that's something that it's a value added thing. And so far the feedback's been pretty positive on that. So this morning, Daniel made Wendy's talking about new emojis. So you can tell who's got the new emojis. The members with the seeds, they have customized emojis that Daniel made. So he made another 13 this morning. So I'm allowed to put in 7 more. So I'm going to be doing that after this. And so we kind of put out a message like what kind of emojis do people want him to design. So we came up with a cat and the dog, and I came up with a crab. So anyway, he's got 13 new ones. So every time there's a level change in the amount of members, we're allowed to add more and more emojis, but that's the dogs. So the membership here, Alexandra, is you'll see now there's a join button, so the members are part of that. So there's the passport and then there's the journey. There are $2 difference, and the journey is basically a full access to everything. So the members are actually seeing the tutorials before my closed caption team gets in there and does their magic. So they're right at the ground level of like when the videos are done. So we have new videos for the springtime already. So they're already kind of in queue. The members can already see them, especially the knitting. We have a lot of knitting tutorials coming out on the knitting crowd. My closed caption team works on the back end of this particular channel. So once they finish their work, I take their work and I put it over to the knitting crowd. It was easier than them having to jump channels. So Gina's showing an example of thank you. It's one of Daniel's emojis. So anyway, Alexander, there's no pressure. I want to make sure people don't feel pressured for that. And you know, in life, things change, and people like free stuff, but free costs money somewhere. So the funds being raised from it are going into operations for what we're doing here. So yeah, Christmas Eve. Anybody feel like it's not Christmassy at all? We went on holiday about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Anyway, we did the whole Christmas thing, the carols, the tree, the gifts. So I feel like Christmas mentally for me is already gone. So this morning we were at the farmer's market grabbing our weekly groceries, and you know, Merry Christmas, the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, I feel like it's already done. So maybe that sounds a little bit Scroogey, but it's kind of how I feel about it. So I'm just having some leftover pizza. I was in a serious mood last night and I said, Daniel, order me a pizza. We haven't had pizza in so long. So it's not uncommon for me to eat my lunch at my desk. Natural, like everybody else does when you work from home and etc. Daniel and I tend to eat dinner together though, up in the dining room table. It's kind of our thing. So Weedsday will likes pizza and a Coke. So I hear some of the Americans are like getting their ass kicked with the temperatures. Here it's actually above freezing. We had, oh my God, we had a crap load of rain yesterday. Filled up our pond beautifully. So we still do not have snow here in Nova Scotia. At least where I live. So here in Nova Scotia, our temperatures actually stay warmer longer in the fall, but then it takes forever to warm up for summer because of the oceanic air currents and etc. So we've been kind of watching this reality series. I think it's the 3rd season of it. Her name is Shay. She's a designer, I think, out of Utah. Oh my God, all of her designs end up being white and end up being very kind of the same. So Daniel and I sit there and like, oh my God, she's gonna paint the wall white. How original. So we heckle the TV because we have no life. Has anybody seen that? I forget what the name of the show is, but it's on Netflix, I think. It was minus 30 Fahrenheit in Kansas. Oh my God. Okay. You know, when I used to drive transport and we'd ship the frozen Butterball turkeys, the freezer in the trailer went down to a maximum of -20 Fahrenheit. So, and that was friggin' freezing. So I cannot imagine -30 in American temperatures. It's cold in Canadian temperatures too, but it's even colder in American temperatures. So I find these crochet diagrams when I make them, they're almost an art form on their own. I like how pretty they look. So I'm making pizza today, turkey tomorrow. High is -1, wind chill is -17. So wheat state wool says the chickens will not go out in the cold or out of the coop. They seem like they're actually smart chickens. So somebody says they watch Harry and Meghan documentary. Yeah, actually we watched that too. I was more curious about the I was more curious about their perspective. I honestly don't care what happens to those two, but I was more curious. Catherine Lyons, thank you so much for the super chat. You should know that after the first month of your membership, because I can tell by the seed that you're a member, you will not have to pay for that. You get one of those per month free. So use it wisely. Is that from Harry Potter? Or use it well. Oh, and Wendy dream home makeover. Meanwhile, all of her homes that she does, most of them are like gigantic mansions. I don't know what people do to get a big house like that, other than probably finance themselves to the gills. So what was your perspective then, Alexandra, on Harry and Meghan? I'm kind of curious. For me, I'm not a celebrity watcher or a monarch watcher. I'm Canadian, but I don't really watch it. I'm not really paying attention to that stuff. So during it, they brought up the issue of her being black or something. It never even occurred to me. It just never occurred to me she was. I just don't look at people like that. So I was really taken back by that. That was my biggest surprise. It's like the Cosby Show when I was a kid. I never even paid attention that they were a black family. But just I don't know. It's just something within me. I just don't see that. I see people. I don't really see that. So this is Adobe Illustrator. Yes. Oh my God, to learn this bastard was like unbelievable. It's probably the hardest computer program I've ever had to learn. Like, so I took a course with Edie Ekman in the fall, or sorry, in spring, because I knew how to do a lot of it, but Edie's course was, I think, what, $550. It was 4 weeks on Thursdays. And honest to God, was the best investment I ever spent last year or this past year. Yeah, the firm. So what they call it, the firm. Like, I think I kept hearing the firm. It's a business. I'm not sure the monarchy has any relevance in today's society today, but what do I know, right? Yeah. So Brianne, you just did a nice super chat. Just so you know, after the first month of your membership, because I can tell your membership with your yarn seat, you won't have to pay for that. So just so you know. So Kathleen Champ is not feeling so well. Have a great Christmas she's obviously celebrating it. So the crochet diagrams in art form, and one thing I really like about them is that even if you don't speak English, as long as you know what the symbol means, you don't need to know a damn word of what I'm speaking. because half the time I don't make sense anyway. So this next round that I'm about to do is going to be my god-awful nightmare. I actually screwed it up in the tutorial too. So I had to do an outtake video. Okay, so now that you see me shove a pizza into my mouth, let's get back to work here and let's keep on going. So round number 6 is a nightmare, and we're gonna just try to fight my way through it. So I'll do the obvious stuff too, make my layers. Oh, I don't want that. That is something else. So I'm just going to say this is, you don't need to be up here. Get down. So myself, I learned to read crochet diagrams when I was a kid. I'm not a strong reader unless I see it on Facebook. I don't even know what's going on half the time. That's a true story. So with myself is that I used crochet diagrams to learn to crochet when I was a kid. And it's something that I stuck with. And when Red Heart hired me for the first time back in 2012, they gave me a pattern that had only written instructions. And I'm like, okay, where's the diagram? I'm like, and it turns out the diagram stuff is becoming a thing of the past, which I think is a travesty. So anyway, so that was my eye-opening. So it literally, I started this whole business without even actually understanding how to read a damn pattern other than a crochet diagram. And so that became my living nightmare. Okay, you need to get down. Okay, and this layer should be blue. Okay, so this layer, oh, not that blue. This layer is really unique in the sense that it's behind. Actually, you know what? Maybe that other blue is better. I'm gonna change that. We can always change it back if I have to. Okay, so this layer is a pain in the ass. Okay, so how am I going to do it? This layer here goes into here. So when I use indicating, people learn differently. Perry saying that, absolutely. Even in today's generation, I think there's a lot of people that need to learn uniquely things, and people are just so hard on other people for requiring the need to learn in a different way, which I think is stupid, but I don't understand why people don't recognize that, but what do I know? So this stitch here is actually in behind the work. So I'm going to send it in behind. Arrange, send it to the back. And I'm also going to bend it. So this guy goes all the way down. Okay, let's not do that. Let's extend him down. And so we need to extend him all the way down to here. And we need to bend him. So we're going to bend this guy. So what I'm going to do, I don't remember how to bend this guy. So what I'm going to do is to draw a line from here to here to here. Not there. To here to there. So he is in behind. So I'm going to move him up. then, so I have a small problem here. Just move that over. So my problem is that these guys all have to be equally spaced all the way around. And Jeannie says that there is 72 stitches all the way around. So I'm gonna have to adjust him to the 72 mark. So Beautifully Broken is joining us this afternoon. It's currently 1:30 my time zone here. So this here, we need to rotate that and to figure out where the 72 points are going to be. So these get harder when they are getting bigger away from the center point. I find the center point is hard to be able to find. I'm going to change the color so it's not so obvious, so I can see it. And let's do a rotation and figure out where this one's going to be landing. So there's 360 degrees divided by 72 points. Copy. Lots of points. So my goal is to equally space out everything that I'm about to do. Okay, so let's have some fun here. Well, if you want to call this fun. So now we're going to take him out and we're going to copy this guy. And so this guy has to end up here and his base has to end up. Try to rotate him a little bit more. So why is it bent? Anybody know that answer? It's bent because it's in behind. So you know what, the art. So anyway, I just started knitting. Knitting patterns are so much easier to read than the crochet. Like so much, I can't even stand how easy it is. Anyway, I never realized that crochet diagrams are so much more detail, and it's a lot easier to screw up a pattern when it's knitting, like when you're writing it. So I kind of have a little bit of sympathy when the patterns are not as easy to read. So yeah. So Alexander, it's designated behind it. That's right. So Alexander gets a Scooby snack today. That's meant as a compliment, just so you know. Okay, so we're going to copy that one. So I used to be an engineer before my time here. So I used to be a computer engineer for the automotive industry. and we used AutoCAD and just kind of fun stuff. And so all what I'm doing right now is kind of matching my experience earlier in my life. So I think that's why I like it so much. Just it's very familiar with me and it makes sense. So it's for me to read blueprints and the whole 9 yards was no sweat at all. Okay, so there's those 3 going in. Now, what I'm going to do, I am going to group those together as one. So, oh, it's already grouped. Okay, so that's good. So now, and what is the problem? They're not in behind. So let's move these guys to the back. So why is that not in behind? Oh, because the layer is not in behind. So I'm going to move the layer in behind so it looks like it's in behind. There we go. And also what they do when it's in behind is that they dull it down so they don't make it as strong looking. So the opacity I'll change to 75%, no, maybe 50%. Okay, so now in this example, the next 4 stitches are going to be here. And those are going to be single crochets. So we're going to have to grab some single crochets back here. And these ones have to look unique. So somebody was always a GIMP fan, a GIMP. So one of the first computer programs I ever learned was AutoCAD. I'm sure it's much different today if it still exists. Okay, so these guys, I'm going to make the same color as blue, just to be consistent with the layer. And so the tops have to match these guys. So my goal is that we have to have 72 equally spaced stitches. So I have to equally space the tops, even though the stitches underneath will not be so equally spaced. Huh. Why doesn't that work? 72. Oh shit. What, why? Oh, no, that works. Okay, never mind. Okay, we're gonna grab this one. Now this guy is gonna be in front. I told you this one's a pain in the ass. I actually designed this, but so the only person I can blame is myself. Okay, this guy here is going to be in front. So I want him to be darker in color. And I'm going to rotate him. And this one's going to be weird when I do this one. And there's going to be 2 weird ones. So what made me change my profession? Because I was young and I don't enjoy cars, to be honest. And it was an old boys industry. So I just didn't like the industry. It was a negative experience. And it was just a terrible job. So but the truth was that I got downsized out too. Okay. And anyway, so when I got downsized out, because I was actually making really good money when I was 19, it was devastating, like devastating. So anyway, so my wife and I at the time, we actually both had really great jobs, and it was really an eye-opening experience. It was the first time I've like you start struggling for money in the whole 9 yards. And it's just because you're just not used to failing, I suppose. So these guys share the same spot. So I was crocheting when I was married with my wife too. So I don't honestly think she appreciated it though. Honestly, it just wasn't her thing. So I'm going to move this guy here. And this guy I'm going to move here. And this one I'm going to move out. I just don't want them interfering with this guy too much. So at that time of my life, though, I was a huge fan of canvas, plastic canvas. Oh my God, I love plastic canvas. Anybody remember that with the holes? And anyway, so I would work on plastic canvas, and my wife wasn't a crafty person, but it brought me joy. Okay, so I got my top. So what is wrong now at this point is that I need to point these single crochets right where they need to go, but I need the tops to stay in line. So you can have different heights of stitches. They don't have to be always the same. Especially in this case, you don't to really show people where they need to stick their stitches. So did anybody ever, plastic canvas, did anybody ever make those tissue box holders and stuff? Those are fun. We had some really good craft stores when I was a kid, but you know, big retail ends up coming in and changing the whole market. But There was a place in Canada called White Rose that we would go to a lot. It's long gone, but it was basically where you would buy yarn and plastic canvas and plants. Very hobby oriented. I think for Canadians, it was kind of a great store. So I'm going to label these guys up. So let's get rid of him, make him bigger. Let's get rid. Okay, so these green guys got to go. So while we're here, now that I can see that, what I want to do is that, you know how you have those stitch diagrams that you, the stitch keys, I have to make sure that the stitch key is going to be reflective. So in time, I may forget what this was. So what I want to do is I want to take a copy of it now. We're going to group it together as one group. Oh. We're going to just group, and I'm going to take a copy of this one and also a copy of this. And I'm going to place it off to the side for a stitch key. In the future. So we'll take him up. And in the stitch key, you can make it different sizes like that. Line them up. And then I'm going to put a label on these things while I'm here. The latch hook. Do you post your diagrams with your patterns? If so, where can I find them? Yes. If I ever write patterns, and I don't do it for everything. It depends how complex it is. These take a long time to make. So it depends. 3 trebles sitting behind. So with crochet, you have to be specific without extra words. So 3 crochets behind. Behind. That's this. Round. And we'll take a copy of that. This is 2 trebles. Trebles over top. Round. On the front. Okay. So I will have that for the future. So yeah, Jahara, I'm not saying your name right probably, but yeah, so anytime I design, I try to put the diagrams in, because for me it's an easier way to communicate with you, and it's also how I design. So if it doesn't work here on the diagram when I'm designing, so I've already done the written format for this. We're using it in a different design, so I know it works. So usually, but what I have to do now is that I'm doing another blanket design right now that's at the base of this. So here's my new design that I'm working on right here. So this is the actual design that we're working on. This is the diagram for it that I'm doing. So this here was that really fancy 5 double crochets and the 5 single crochets. This is where we are, and this is the next in between. These petals are what I'm working on right now. So anyway, the blanket will be called Study of Wonder, because my concept that I have, if I go back to it, my concept that I'm wondering about, is it possible, and I've already started crocheting it, but I have not done any of this other stuff on the side. My question that I have is, can I go from a diamond chevron shape and flatten it out to a nice even edge side? So it's the study of wonder, and I'm wondering if that's possible, and I think that it is possible, because I'm determined to make it possible. So I'm calling it the Study of Wonder blanket. So what are the lines around the squares? Those will be that's kind of like my guides on how I want to be able to transition it to a flat side. The goal is to make sure I don't have too many stitches or too few, so it buckles. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. Okay, so these guys are together as one. So we're going to group those. We're going to make sure these are in layer 6, and they are. And we're going to rotate the whole thing. Move the center point down. And there's going to be 8 points to do that. So it'll be 360 degrees divided by 8. So anyway, anybody liking that idea? I don't know. I'm just wondering if it's, I know it's probably possible. I just got to do it. So that's my goal over the Christmas holidays, is to do that. So this will be this round that I just did. You know what? Now that I see it done like that, I'm going to change these guys to be the blue, the darker blue. I don't like it in the lighter blue there, but I'm going to keep this one there because it's sitting behind. Okay, and we'll try rotating that again. I want to make sure that at the end of this project that I'm proud of what I put out. So if I don't like something, now's the time to change. So 360 degrees divided by 8 points. Copy. Candy. Okay, so next one up is going to be, that was round number 6. The pattern says it'll appear to be buckling at this moment. The next 3 rounds will settle down the pattern, which is completely true. So right now we're going to shift into high gear. It's going to get easier to make, and then we're going to have to transition to a square. But we're not ready to do that yet. Let me save my work. Okay, so let's go and get a double crochet from our master. Did you see that? I've taken out, shit. I accidentally took out, what's that? There you go. I took out my treble. So command. So I can change it on the key later. So you see the keys, I always put in black. So the colors I'm not so worried about yet in that key, but thank you for that, because I might have forgotten that. Okay, so we know that this here, let's try to get it more center. This one will be a very fast round because there's nothing fancy about it. Okay, so let's do that. And this guy is black. Let's make him bigger. And then this guy is going to be 72 points. Everything is about the order in the keyboard strokes that you're not seeing happen. You have to hold down keys and stuff for this kind of stuff for it to work. So there's 72 points, so 360 degrees. What is wrong? I have not made this round 7 yet. Let's make a, let's do this around 7. And let's take him to the, oops, let's put him on the current layer. 7. Okay, so he's now there, and now we're going to rotate him around. So my goal this year is to design rectangle blankets. People, I think, got sick and tired of my squares, which is a fair analysis because squares are much easier. So this will be a rectangle blanket at the end. So there's 72 points, so 360 degrees divided by 70 points. We'll give it this and Command D all the way around. Command D, 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 D. Okay, that was Command D. Okay, so now let's save our work. That was a big one. And let's create another layer. And this is going to be round 8. Now round 8, we are going to be introducing back and front posts. So we'll just bring these guys over. And we're going to get rid of this. I'm just going to put him off to the side just in case I need him in the future. Okay, and so we're going to start off with back posts. So the back post will be this one right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate on this side. And I'm going to make that smaller. And I'm also going to put in a line that I can actually see. And there's also 72 points, so I'm going to just copy him. I want to get the angles right. If you don't get angles right, you're screwing yourself. Like, it's crazy. So my angle is wrong, you can see that. So 360 degrees divided by 72 points, copy, Command D. So now I can see it. I'm gonna make this square a little bit smaller. I'm going to condense down the stitches a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to, what's the problem? He should be blue. Let's make him blue. And then we're going to get the front post. Let's rotate. And he should also be blue. It's that should be done for that. So these are going to be all the way around. So I'm going to leave these points here. And we are going to rotate these guys. So we're going to put them together as a group and rotate. So there's in pairs now, so 72 divided by 2 is 36 points. So 360 degrees divided by 36. Copy. Oh, shoot. Okay. And I have to do that one more time. They're not on the right layer. If I ever have to subtract anything, if it's on the wrong layer, it's easier just to hide all the layers just so I can see it. So let's put that on the right layer. Seven, and try again. $360 divided by 36 points. Command D. Okay, we're going to make another layer. Oh, shh. It should have been on round 8. If you start settling for second best, then it becomes a problem. So it looks a little anal retentive, which is fine, but 360 degrees divided by 36 points. Copy for the gazillionth time. Okay, done. Okay, so now we're going to move on to round number 9, which is 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So we're just going to go grab a single crochet. And take him up. The spacing in between, I just kind of eye things up, like between the layers. And we also need to make round 9. And move this to round number 9. Oh. So I had a layer in there that was showing that stuff. And get rid of it. Okay, so we're going to move this and rotate. So Alexander, I don't put in the chain stuff until at the end. The problem is if you focus on the chain stuff now, it becomes an alignment issue later. So I learned that the chain of starting and stopping the rounds should be done at the end, which was always my biggest problem for learning this stuff. So 360 degrees divided by 72. So anyway, I always thought that I had to do that at the beginning, and then I would have alignment issues, and then I could never recover from it. And apparently I should have did it at the end. That was one of the things that I learned with Edie Ekman's course this past spring, is to sometimes not worry about the small detail like that and worry about it at the end. Yeah, so wheat state wool, that's exactly what my problem has been for years. So once I took our course, I was like, I get it. Okay, so I'm going to, oops. I'm now going to take these guys and I'm going to move these over to copy. And I'll drop these with the other stuff over here. Okay, so got that. Okay, so that was round number 9. So round number 10 is when the whole thing turns into a square. So this is where it gets really interesting. Okay, we can get rid of that. And now we're going to go into a complete square. So this guy I am going to eliminate, done. And I'm going to now make a square. I'm going to square to the center point. So now the goal here is to have everything match this shape. What was the course? Is it still available? Check out edfman.com and she might have that course available. There's not very many people that sign up for it, so she doesn't do it that often. Okay. This is where it gets complicated. We are going to need a whole slew of stitches to go square. So I'm just going to grab all of these guys. And I'm also going to grab some chains while I'm at it. And I'm going to put it in. And I better save my work while I'm here. So my goal here at this point is to get a line from the corner So the best way to do it is just to draw a line like this. And just to kind of match it from the center point. And then we'll change the color so we can see it. And we'll take a copy of that guy to copy, and we'll rotate him another 45 the other way. So there is my corners that I need. And okay, so now usually in the corners, they don't actually go right to the corner. So what they do is let's rotate this 45 degrees, and let's do that. And we should say that this is also round number 10. So let's create a new layer. Or sorry, this is round number, yeah, it is round 10. And let's put that on number 10. And these guys should also be blue. Okay. So here's where it gets, so we know that there's 21 stitches between the corners. So what I need to do is to establish the line so that I can do it. So we're going to draw a line up from the center point here. And let's make that red so it's easier to see. And what I want to do is move him over and copy it the other way. Now this is where there's 21 spots, so I need to do, it's called a pattern. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a pattern to be able to understand where the patterns are going to go. So we're going to do a blend. And I always get confused on this. So there's 21 stitches. I'm just going to say that there's 20 stitches here. And we'll just try it and see what and come up with blend, make. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay, so there's 22 there. So I want to eliminate, I want us to try that again. So I always get this wrong. Blend options, there was 20, so I'm going to say there's 19. Okay, and we'll try it again. Blend, make. This is how they're getting okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I now have 21 stitches. Okay, so now I have to expand this out. So blend, expand, and also ungroup. And what I'm going to do is that we know that so I can tell that I'm not center, so I'm going to move myself center. So now center. And now, so there's 26. So we have to add in some stuff. So let's get the height of a single crochet as my key point. And he should be blue. In fact, all of them should be blue. And he also should be on round number 10. So now that we know that, we're going to make him smaller and match the height. And bring him in. So I'm going to drag in one of these, and I know that I'm too close there. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to move it in a bit. And I'm going to move him in a bit. And then I'm going to equally space them out so that they're equal to each other. Okay, we're going to shift these guys up. And I'll make him green. So the center points here are, so I want to align to the center of each. Okay, and now I want to Now these guys are equally spaced from each other. So instead of having to do 3 more like that, I can just copy it and drag it to the other side because they should be the equal space. And then I need some double crochets. There's 3 of those. These guys are the corner. Copy these guys. So Gina is busy wrapping up some gifts today and stuff she made. And Barb, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. So the goal here is to be able to align up properly. So I can guess, but I don't want to. So what I'm going to do, we'll draw that ellipse back in. Red, we'll do purple, who cares? We're going to align it. And then I want to make sure that the end pieces for those end up becoming at the same spot. So I'm going to align it to here. So now it's all a matter of manual entry now. So we're just going to line it to above the existing stitch. If it was all the same stitch, there's a way of doing this with a click of a button, but because they're all different, they all have to be manually aligned. And then these guys share the corner spot. If you were to hand dye yarn, what colors would you pick? Would you want tonal, speckled, variegated, a thin color light? Hand dye. I like bright colors. But before you consider doing that, which is a great gift, is that on camera, because of my relationships with the yarn companies, I can really only use their yarns on camera. So my point being is that I don't make a lot of stuff for myself. Usually if I'm crocheting in the nighttime, I'm working on tutorial work. So just keep that in mind. I don't mind getting it, just you may never see me using it on camera, if that's important for you. However, I am knitting lately, so I may like that for hats. Daniel is more tonal, more of the earth tones, and I'm more of the black or vibrant colors. So yeah, so if you want to share the love, I'm willing to, I'll take it for sure. I probably would enjoy a nice hat with that. So I've been loving making the hats lately, knitting hats. I'm actually shocked, but I just started knitting hats this year, just a month or so ago, and I'm absolutely just obsessed with it. So I'm going to end up with a lot of hats by the end of this season, I can tell. I just love the journey of this stitch. So Mary is joining us this afternoon. So yikes, very time consuming, says CJ. Is that Carol? CJ Taylor, is that Carol? I learned how to do the by the diagrams. Yeah, I am too. I'm kind of backwards in that way too. Okay, so make this guy bigger. Group. And now we're gonna just take this guy. Everybody's blue, so we're gonna take this guy and rotate. So Carol Taylor, one of my favorites. Oh my God, everybody, when I met Carol, I think it was it in California when I met you, Carol? I think, hi, I'm Carol Taylor. Like she used her last name, like, okay. Anyway, she was just so much fun, and she was with her friend Leanne Rhymes. Yeah. Anyway, it's those relationships that you have in time that just make all the world a difference. Make the world a little bit of a better place to live. And she's realistic too, which I like a lot. So Wendy's kind of sucking up. She says my color work is fabulous. Keep talking to me. Oh, I never aligned the single crochets. I didn't align this one. Wait. I've been liking on the thin side. So number 3, or I like a number 4 wool as well. So Wendy, do you want to tell us all about your cyber Christmas party? Wendy had a Christmas party that was all cyber. It was like from the show Circle, The Circle, that reality trashy of a show that is so addictive. So she had to be in her living room having her little cyber party with all of her little cyber friends. I told her to get inflatables, but she said no. So anyway, so she had a circle party. Anyway, I thought it was quite comical, actually. I'm like, how do you intermix? Because usually if you're at a party, you kind of pull people off to the side and chit chat. I don't know how you get away with that on a cyber chat. Unless you have another side chat going on, trashing other people that are in the same chat party. Yeah. So I don't know. It seemed kind of weird to me, but what do I know? And Wendy and I are circle buddies. We love that show. Hashtag can't get enough. Okay, so that was round number 10. I'm starting to run into this other pattern that I worked on. I can get rid of this one here. That was the study of snow. Actually, yeah, I can get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of this stuff. I'm just going to put it off to the side. So yeah, so we have more. I'll be uploading yeah, Circle Sisters. I'll be uploading more emojis after this chat. We have more to upload for those that are liking that stuff. So for those that are late to the party, my goal is this. So that what I'm working on right now is this that I've already designed. So I'm doing it in crochet format, and then I'm going to put it together as diamonds. And then I'm going to figure out how it goes from this to a flat line for a rectangle with blanket. So that's kind of what my goal is. I wish there was an option to like other messages. Yeah. I think YouTube doesn't want to get too complicated. At least that's to my point of view. I really honestly don't know nothing. Okay, so that was number 10. Let's do number 11. And round 11, we are going to, I'm going to double crochet in each. We'll get a double crochet and bring it back. Okay, and this time, okay, and we are going to grab some chains. So as far as messaging other people and liking stuff, we do have here on, it's not our problem, but we have people trying to hit on other people and this stuff. Just ask Wendy. It's so So anyway, I think there's men that find a crochet channel and then they kind of try to work the women. And it could be the other way around. There might not even be men for all I know. And there's always something going on. Always. Okay, so we're going to move him out. Get rid of that one. Okay, so here is the fun stuff. So we now are going to have a total of 25 per side. So 25 is the magic number. I think I can do it with this. So I'm going to take these guys and we're going to try that blend option. And I think it's 23. I need a total of 25 stitches. If this works, I'll be shocked. I'm shocked. Let's make sure there is 25 though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 24, 25. There's 25 there. Okay. And I'm going to condense. So it already knows that there's 20, there's 2 there, Wendy. That's how it knows that stuff. That's where I always get confused. I'm going to copy. Yes, I am. Wendy. So yes, the journey members are the ones that have early access. So passport ones are not in that category. The journey is all the preview stuff. Oh my God. No problem, Wendy. Wendy's talking to me on a private chat, just asking a question. So it's all about the down spacing. It's unusual for it to lean in that direction on a diagram, but the stitch counts are right. So at one point, Daniel used to do all this stuff. It was not me, so he knew how to do it, but he wasn't as detailed as I was, as I am. So so he was happy if I just slammed into a spot close enough. But then when you print out stuff, you can kind of clearly see that it's not lining up exactly. So he was very good at just saying that, wow, that's okay. Where I don't have that personality. So this will be a new pattern. I don't know how, so I have to design this before I can start actually truly designing. So this here is actually from an existing design of the Inspired by Joy. And I designed the center point for Jeannie's newest stitch along. So I asked her yesterday if I can borrow the design. I had forgotten that I designed it. So anyway, so she said, well, sure, because you designed it. So it gave me the idea to try a new design using the center point. I like the center point. And I completely forgot I designed it. So I did this design back in June, but when I drew this out, I always draw on paper. So I drew on paper and then I tried it, and then I just sent Jeannie a copy of the graph paper that I drew it on, but I never actually did it on computer. But for the next design that I need to do this, I need to be really accurate. And so I don't want to design without this already in my hands. Yeah. So that's kind of my goal. And now we're going to try the design. Okay, so we're going to give this a try, and we're going to group and rotate. I feel like Fonzie. Sit on it and rotate. Or did he just say sit on it? I think he's just said sit on it, right? Is that what Fonzie said? Sit on it. I remember that was the big thing back then. That might have been the TV version of Go F Yourself at the time. Yeah. Okay, that was number 11. See if that goes again. So Flo says she doesn't think she has the patience for something like this. And then there's going to be 2 in the corner. These guys should be blue. So it is tedious in the beginning, but honestly, it is worth it. I stand by that decision. Let's see if I can get away with that. So this is 29 stitches, so there should be a total of 27 spots. Question on the petals in the middle of the sizes look graduated on the right side of the petal. Are all of them double crochet, or would some be? They are all double crochet. It's because the petals lean up towards you. They actually are moved out of the way and they stand straight up when it's in the sample. So that's a great question. But the whole thing actually lifts right off. Let me show you what it looks like. That's what it would look like right there. So once these were all double crochets, and then they lift up and then they lie down on the project. So Kelly Ray has just figured out how to join. So thank you so much for joining us. And Gina was being really silly, thinking that there's no more blankets for now. Gina, stop talking nonsense. I'm a sucker for a blanket design. So I've only got as far as like the middle square here designed. The rest of it is going to be all, oops. The rest of it will all be figured out as I go. So Lady Cray. Lady Cray. So how did you get Lady Cray? Just for the fun of it, or? So it's a mix of the middle and the first name. That's unique. It's fun. You only live once. You might as well go by the name you want, right? Anybody else here would like to change their names? I made the mistake once. I ordered plane tickets for my mom and I to go on vacation. So we ended up getting to the airport and they would not, we were going into the Dominican Republic from Toronto, from Ontario. And anyway, they would not take her plane ticket because I didn't think about it, but my mom's first name is not the same name that she goes by. So I put on the plane tickets her name that she goes by and not her legal name. And so we were held up in the ticket agents, the ticketing there for so long that we literally had to run to the gate because they weren't going to accept us, and I was begging. And anyway, so they said, well, if you get to the Dominican and you go through customs and they turn you around, it's your own problem. And so anyway, we get to the plane, we're one of the last to board, and our plane seats are already given to somebody else. So we were, because we were one of the last people on board, there was people sitting in our seats. And I'm like, oh shit. So anyway, I talked to thing, it's like, what are you doing? She says, stand at the back of the plane. And she says, and pray to God that there's space on there because we'll put you in any seat that's left. And so anyway, we sat in the back, we stood in the back of the plane. And my mom is like, it'll be fine. And I'm thinking, it is not going to be fine because, you know, I booked the trip, you know, a few months earlier and our seats are gone. And anyway, so my mom's all like, it's all fine, it's all fine. My mom's happy-go-lucky that way. Anyway, I am not saying it's all fine. I'm pissed and whatever. So anyway, there end up being 2 seats that were left over. So we got to sit in there. We did not sit together, which is okay by me, as long as we get to go. And so anyway, we got down to the Dominican. So because they warned us that we could be turned away at the Dominican, I was flipping out the whole plane ride down, that we're probably going to have a plane ride all the way back on the same day. And anyway, we get down there. They didn't even look at our passport for more than 2 seconds. Yep, you're good. And I was like, I freaked out for like 4 hours in the flight that, you know, we might get turned around. It was not a great day. So yeah, so that's kind of your mental note to yourself. When booking airline tickets, make sure the person you're booking for has the right name. So my mom is, because of my parents having a pretty ugly divorce, my mom switched her name that she goes by back to her real name. And so it's kind of weird to see her name as what it is, because I've gone most of my life with her as a different name. And my parents and I were in business together in my 20s, and I never referred to them as mom and dad. I just always, to keep it professional, always Bob and Sheila. So even though our business is kind of long gone, I still think of them as Bob and Sheila and not mom and dad, because it was years of that. And I don't think that's uncommon either. I just don't think it's professional in a business setting to call them mom and dad while there's other people around you. It changes perception of people. Is this over yet? I knew, I was kind of dreading to start this morning. I was like, oh my God. I didn't even know today was Saturday. So our local Tim Hortons is closing next week permanently. So it's my addiction to get out of the house. I've been thinking about going out to get a coffee or a tea this afternoon, but then I realized that they're closed because it's New Year's Eve, and or it's Christmas Eve today. So anyway, they're going to be closing, so I'm going to be a manic mess next week. You watch. So anyway, and yes, I can make tea at home, but when you work from home, it's the only thing that gets me out of the house to have a mental break is to run and go get a tea at Timmy's. So there's been a lot of issues with people not, employees not working, employees not showing up, and employees quitting mid-shift and the whole 9 yards. And I kind of honestly don't blame them. To work for minimum wage is pretty, it's not a great thing. Anyway, so the rumor in the mill is that the location was being asked to renovate, and the mall that it's in is almost completely shut down. Like the whole entire mall is pretty much empty. And so it did not make sense for the owner to renovate the store when literally almost the entire mall, 90% of it is empty. And so they made the decision to end the location and just finish it. Mall's not going anywhere. It's like they got to rip it down and put something else there, but who knows? It's not my circus. It's not or my monkeys, so I'm not going to worry about it. They are still open. No, my location closed at noon today. I think the main location, there's 5 to me, so there was 2 of them. One just closed a month ago and the other one's closing next week. But the main location I think you're talking about closes at 5 or 6. So that one's a busy spot, and I'm just not in the mood for people. But I'll have to let you know whether I stay hooked on it or not. If I can get off it, I would save money, but then the tea gives me an energy rush in the afternoons that allow me to keep working and working and working, when probably a nap would be better. So the era of the mall is long gone for sure. Honestly, you know what? I don't kind of blame these stores. If they can make do and there's less fees and stuff for a standalone store, which seems to be the case, that's fine. They have to do what's right for them. If it keeps the cost down and the price is a reasonable price, I'm all for it. But you're right, the mall era is done. It's been done a long time ago. I never really noticed that when I was a truck driver driving in the States. The amount of malls that were literally closed and looking like they're condemned was shocking. So the US has a lot of consumerism versus Canada here. It's really eye-opening when you see it. Okay. So Echo, I think that's the new normal. I have not been to a mall in I don't know how many years. I think maybe 2 years ago I went to the last mall. And COVID is it must be more than 2 years before COVID dropped. Is this crazy or is this crazy? This is crazy. I'm almost done though. Oh, yeah, I got 2000. That was round number 12. Okay, number 13. Was there any good things on TV to watch over the break? I don't know. We started watching a documentary last night. I think it's Hang Up the Phone or Don't Hang Up the Phone. Something with it's based out of the US. I guess some kind of pervert was calling all these stores and getting the managers to strip search their employees. Anybody see that garbage? That was yesterday. And what crossed my mind the most is that if it kept happening to McDonald's and Taco Bell and all these big retail, Wendy's and the whole 9 yards, you would think that these chains would like put out a message to all their stores to ignore stuff like that. But what do I know? Not much. So has anybody seen that one? I don't know if it's a new one or not, but so anyway, so we started binging it last night. So I watched the ending tonight. Merry Christmas Eve. So Scotland is joining us. Pauline is joining us today. So Apple Valley is joining us in the house this morning or this afternoon. Oh, this is a back loop. History of swear words, that was fascinating too. I saw that one last year, I think. Well, I swear like a sailor, so that's right up my alley. So we got 31 stitches per side. So happy holidays, says Kalanda. That's a nice name. Kalanda. So Darlene started watching Reacher. I started Jack Reacher. I thought I liked it, but I'm not so sure anymore. But I know there's a lot of hype with it, but I don't know. I'm not sure that was for me. So people are coming on to wish us a happy holidays and Merry Christmas and the whole 9 yards today. Okay. Okay, somebody's complaining. No, I'm going to ignore it. Okay, so there is a total of 31. So 31 minus 2 is 29. If it fits in the graph paper, does that mean it will lie flat? It's all about the stitch counts on the corners. So I'm doing single crochet right now. So if I put 2 single crochets in a corner, it would start to buckle. So I guess it all depends. And Scotland's out of the house today. Okay, I'm feeling guilty, so just give me a moment. This woman's brand new to crochet and she's flipping out. she's complaining that I didn't provide the stitch counts, which I did provide them. However, I never said them in the video, so she doesn't want to download the video or pattern. So I decided to use Red Heart Row With It Melange as my yarn, and the first color that I decided to use is called Catwalk. So it looks like that. So it's a mix of the greens with the tonals with a little bit of kind of magenta mixed into it. So it just changes on its own. So that's kind of my goal. And Miranda is joining us this afternoon. I wanted to use charts like this, but I didn't catch on how to actually use them. You know, you just have to start with something really small, like a dishcloth with just an easy pattern. When you read this, it can be read either in clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on you. Because I haven't put the stitch, the slip stitch in, you can't tell which way to read this. But generally speaking, Yarn Inspirations, when they do a pattern like this, we always read counterclockwise. Even if you're left hand, you always still read counterclockwise. But then other designers, they put the slip stitch on the other side. So let me give you a demonstration of that while we're here. So if I put in a slip stitch, and this is how you can tell if somebody doesn't give you a written pattern. Oops. I'll just show you too. If I put a slip stitch here, and let's just say I change this here, right here to a chain 3, it would mean that the chain 3, I would read in counterclockwise because the chain 3 is always the beginning of a round and the slip stitch is always the end. So if I moved the stitch mark or stitch here, and then this was a chain 3 here, then I would read it in the clockwise position. So the whole point of this is that this here indicates where the ending is, and then everything else is either in front or behind. So that's would be how you would read that. Okay. So that's done. And that was number 13. 14. Let's double crochet back in. I'm almost done. I just got to do a few more things. So Stacy is joining us this afternoon. Thank you so much, Stacy, for stopping on by. And we still have to copy this out. We got to rotate. Well, the puppies are always first. That's just the rule. I think our puppies sleep all day, but then they're very active at nighttime. They're night breed. Just in case you ever get a Great Pyrenees, they are a night dog. Oh my God. This is the diagram that never ends. We're almost done though. So I'm just kind of hanging out. So you don't, Pam, you don't have to be too, I'm just kind of hanging out here online today, just kind of doing my thing. Kind of gives you just perspective on how we do the diagram work. So my goal today was to take nothing and make it into something. So I'm designing over the holidays. So I need a diagram so that I can do what I need to do. So blend options. So now there is 35 stitches. So now it's going to be 33. 33. Does join and slip stitch mean the same here? Does join? Yes. And the short answer is yes. Sometimes we do, especially Jeannie does join with the half double crochet. So it would not actually look like a slip stitch, but it would look like a half double crochet lying on its side. But it's salty. So in my world, the diagrams, when people get really nasty about it, they expect these diagrams to be done. But I think people honestly don't factor in the time that somebody actually has to make them. And I'm sure there might be a faster way, but I think sometimes we humans have an unrealistic expectation on what we ask others to do without their consideration of their time. And it's 3:35, so it's starting to get dark in my time zone here. So Darlene, I am on that mission this year, but to do the mission, I have to actually spend time and actually think about it. I find the rectangles are harder to do, but I just don't want to do granny square rectangles. I want to do something fun with rectangles. So I'm adding my own workload of my own selfish need to actually be creative and not just settle for doing an easy expectation of a rectangle, which is kind of dumb, really. If I would design a lot more if I wasn't so pathetically detailed. I feel like if I design a pattern that has a 4-stitch repeat or something, I feel like I'm letting people down because I'm capable of so much more. And yet people would probably want that anyway. But then am I going to sit there and do a whole blanket with a 4-stitch repeat and bore myself to tears? Or am I going to do something fun like this and drive myself crazy? So the obvious answer is to drive myself crazy. So these diagrams, when they're done, I might actually send out this pattern to your inspirations. So I'll give them my diagrams and stuff. So when I do stuff for Yarn Inspirations, I don't charge them for it. I just hand over the design. It just makes it a lot easier. So putting the ideas together, simplicity. So I have an idea for this for texture, but I won't really know until I really buckle in. So I need to get this done so I can put it on. I can actually tape this to real graph paper and figure it out manually with my pen and paper, my pencil and paper, and a big fat eraser. Yeah, that big white blanket that you're talking about, that actually did really well. Shocked. That's what that complaint was that I just got, that I should have filmed it in slow motion. Sweetie, you just can't, I just can't do it all. And yet you have the ability, everybody does, is to be able to slow down any video on YouTube. It's an option. I just don't think people realize they have that option. But then usually when I say that, then they say, well, where is it? And I'm like, you know what? Use the help menu. You have to learn to help yourself too. And now that sounds cranky. Okay, one more row and then we're done. So let's get this shit over with. Oh, that's great. Okay, one more time to do this and then that's it. Okay, I'm going to end for the day and I'll void the comment. Oh, Terry's talking about the void the comment. Oh, Terry, were you the person? Yeah, you know what? If you look at the gearbox, I don't know if you're on a desktop. If you just hover over top of the player window and just say playback speed, you can change the speed to be any speed. You can even speed me up. I have found over the years of tutorial making that I just cannot get the right speed for everybody. And it's the best way to do it if you are looking for that. And you can also do it on your app and your phone if you are looking for that option. There's actually quite a few people, and actually the closed captioning too. You will not believe how many millions of people use the closed captioning. It is insanity. I would have never expected it to be that high, which is great. It's a great resource, but everybody learns at a different pace and a different language and stuff. And anyway, I am going to end for the day, and we hope you have a good one. And I'm going to finish the rest of this off camera and just probably have a quick nap and have a great afternoon.